to Tuesday Transformation Tidbits, a weekly inspiration podcast from Teardrops, liquid language of the heart, created to encourage, challenge, and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Each episode delivers a powerful, practical, kingdom-centered tidbit designed to energize your day and inspire lasting transformation. So whether you're navigating change, overcoming setbacks, or stepping into your next level, this Kingdom Chick is here every Tuesday too. Stir your faith, sharpen your focus, shift you into your next level. Let's grow. Let's grow.
Good morning. Good morning, and welcome back to Tuesday Transformation Tidbit, where every week we're coming together to stir your faith, sharpen your focus, and to shift you into the next level. I am your Kingdom Chick, and I am so excited to be back with you. Been away doing a couple of things, but we're back this morning to continue the Turning Point series. I don't know about you, but we're coming to the latter half of 2026, and we're coming to the point where we want to make sure that we are getting it done. Whatever it is that the Father has decided for us in 2026, that is the thing that we must get done. I need somebody to drop in the chat this morning that I am getting that thing done. He has commanded me to do some things in 2026, and by any means necessary, I'm going to get whatever he has for me to do. I'm not going to leave 2026 and leave everything that the Father has orchestrated for me to get done. I'm not going to leave it in the background. I'm not going to allow it to drop by the wayside, but I'm going to pick that thing up and I'm going to do what it is that the Father is going to do. When we look at all of the weeks of the things that we have done for this particular episode of Turning Point series, week 1, we talked about making a decision. We said I was going to move with intentions. And then week 2, when we came back, we talked about walk the assignment. After you make the decision to do what it is that the Father has called for you to do, then you need to walk that assignment, because we needed to understand that every step that we take, we're taking a step of purpose. I don't know about you, but everything that you have encountered this far in 2026, every step that you have taken was a step of purpose that you take. Week 3, we came back and we talked about to stay in the lane. Whatever you do, you needed to make sure that you stayed in your own lane. You didn't need for distractions to come in and to derail your direction, because your direction was given by the Father. You didn't need for any distractions to come in and take you off course, to move you out of the way, because you had to remember in week 1, you made a decision that you were going to be intentional in what the Father has called for you to do. Then, in being intentional means that every distraction that came your way, you had to push it to the wayside. You had to push it behind you, and you had to keep your eyes focused. Focus on what? Focus on the assignment that was given for you in 2026, because we were walking this assignment out. Week 4, we came back and we told you to move in step with God. Whatever you do, you needed to make sure that you took steps with the Father. You needed to make sure that every step that you took was a step that was ordained by God. You needed to make sure that even if you were standing still and you were marching in place, every time you lift up one foot and put the other foot down to march in place, it was a step that you were making in God. This week, on the final week for this particular series, we're coming back and we're looking at keep moving. Whatever you do, in this year, whatever you do, you got to keep moving. And why do I have to keep moving? Because you got to understand starting is one thing. And sometimes starting is very easy for us to do. I don't know, at the beginning of every year, some of us, we still make New Year's resolutions. And all that is really a declaration of what we're going to do for the year. So we claim and we get started and we go. Some of us who say that we're going to the gym, we'll go for the whole month of January. Then when February get here, we might go for the first 2 weeks in February because we're in the groove and we realize it takes about 6 weeks or so really to see a difference. So we're going to hold out for that 6 weeks. But when it get into that 7th and that 8th week, and I'm going to tell you, by the time March get here, you're not continuing with the thing that you started out. Keep it moving says, I'm starting in one thing, but I'm going to continue in another thing. Whatever the Father said for you to do in 2026, you started one way, but I want to encourage you to continue is another thing. To start is one thing, but to continue is something totally different. And on this morning, I want to encourage you to keep it moving. I don't know who you are on today, but you need to get up and you need to start moving. You need that circulation to be moving in you on today. You need those muscles to begin to at your feet and begin to move on today so that you can get yourself together. Why do I need to get myself together? Because there's something for me to do in 2026, and I got to execute that thing. Things are going to come my way. Problems and situations and challenges, like what I like to call them, are going to enter into my atmosphere, but I've got to keep it moving. Somebody drop it in the chat for me this morning. Declare, I got to keep it moving. I'm almost in the last quarter of 2026. I've got about 4 months left to execute what the Father has called for me to do. Less than 4 months to execute what the Father calls me to do. So I got to keep it moving. I see you trying to move me out, but I've got to be like a Nehemiah. I got to see that I'm up here and no one is going to bring me down. You got to have a great start on Monday, but you can't quit by Wednesday. Somebody got to say, I started on Monday and I'm going to continue until Saturday, and then I'm going to pick it back up on Sunday and I'm going to start again. You got to get excited about your vision. And you can't become disencouraged. I want somebody to know on today that if you're not excited about your vision, then who should be? If you're not excited about what the Father has called for you to do, who should be? You've got to sometimes encourage yourself to keep it moving. You got to encourage yourself to do what the Father has called you to do. You got to encourage yourself to hold on and don't give up. You got to know that God has told you to do something, and you can't become tired in what the Father has called you to do. You got to keep it moving. Come on, somebody, let's get it moving this morning. Let's get that excitement up. Let's get it doing what the Father has called me to do. I got situations, you got situations, we all got situations that are going on, but I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep holding on. So the question in this last series for this morning, the question is not, will I move? But the question becomes, I got to move. I got to keep it moving because the purpose that the Father has called me to do, this purpose has to be fulfilled. It's a lifetime of faithful obedience that I have to give to the Father, because I want us to understand, once we start something, once we move into the next dimension of our life, there's no going back. If you have moved into the place that the Father has called for you to be in 2026, you can't go back to yesterday, because once you start something new, once you get into the groove of something new, there is no turning back, because the thing behind you no longer interests you. The thing behind you no longer is part of what you do. This new thing is who I'm becoming. So we gotta keep it moving. I want to stress that to you. You're going to get sick of me talking about keeping it moving this morning, but we got to keep it moving. We got to understand that kingdom maturity is revealed by those who keep walking. We get excited of the fad. And then remember when I started out, I talked about in New Year's, when we start a New Year's resolution, we're excited in January. We're excited in February. But when March get here, something about that excitement begins to fade away. We don't want nothing to fade in 2026. The journey is going to get difficult. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that your journey is going to be easy. Anything that you follow through, that the Father has called for you to follow through, it gets difficult. Why? Because the enemy of your soul does not want you to achieve. It's the same thing in the natural. When you begin to do something and you're coming to the crux of the finishing line of a project that you're working for, things begin to go haywire. Things begin to happen out of the unnormal, or of the unusual, rather, it's the correct word. Why? Because you're coming to the finish line. You're coming to the conclusion. I want to encourage somebody this morning that the journey is going to get difficult. Things are going to come. Stumbling blocks are going to be put into your place, but you've got to move them out of the way. You're not going to see immediate results and whatever it is that the Father has, but you've got to keep it moving. You've got to remain faithful. Faithfulness creates the momentum that you need. And in order for you to execute whatever the Father has called for you to do in 2026, you got to get that momentum up. Sometimes momentum looks like doing the right thing again and again and again, and you don't see anything coming your way. You got to have one more prayer, one more step, one more phone call, one more application that you got to fill out, one more page that you got to do, one more act of obedience that you have to execute. You don't want to make things look like they're giants, but you want it to become part of who you are. Whatever the Father's called for you to do, let this step that you take, let this opportunity that you have, let this choice you have become a part of what the Father has called you to do. You can't stop moving right now. You got to keep moving. Like I said, even if we're marching in place, somehow or another, we got to keep moving. We got to tell ourselves, I got to move. I don't know where I'm moving, but sometimes I got to mark time. So I have to stand still and I have to keep moving. There's a couple of points that I want to lay on you this morning, and we're going to go and move into another direction. My first one is do what God has already told you to do. I want to tell somebody this morning, stop looking for another word. Stop looking for something different. But we got to do what the Father has already called and told us to do. See, some of the practical things that we do, we're sitting on the last word that we got. We already know that we need to forgive somebody. We already know that, but we won't do it. We already know that we need to start something different, but we allowing things to come into our progress, into our way, into the place that we're walking, so we don't start something new. We already know that we got to stop doing something. Somebody, you got to stop doing something this morning. I don't know what you're doing, but there's something that you got to stop doing. Rather, you speaking doom and gloom over your own life, whatever it is, you got to stop doing that. You got to start speaking the words of who the Father called you to be. In other words, our pastor told us on Sunday, you got to prophesy. And prophesy means speaking the words that God has told you to speak. Speaking the words that has been deposited inside of you. Sometimes we speak words, but we speak words from what we actually see. And those are not the words that the Father calls us to speak. But when we begin to prophesy, prophesy means speaking the words that God has called for you to speak concerning your situation. Somebody, you need to prophesy over your own life that you shall live, that God will put the bones together and they shall become a great army again. She tore that thing up Sunday morning and that has resonated over me. We gotta sometimes prophesy to ourselves. Say what the Father has called for you to say. Speak those words over your life. If you're not feeling well, speak that I am healed on today. If your mind is in confusion, speak that he shall keep me in peace, whose mind is stayed on me. If my direction is messed up this morning, he is the one that's going to set the way for me. God is a way maker. He will make your pathway straight. Whatever it is on this morning, I need somebody to speak the word. Speak the word over your situation. Speak the word in your atmosphere. Speak what the Father has called you to do. And then somebody, you got to establish some boundaries. We talked earlier this year about the power of the no. And I was sharing with someone on Sunday. I said, that was something I had to learn how to say. And not only learn how to say it, but say it from my heart. I heard somebody say yesterday, say it from your chest. You got to learn how to say no. In the beginning, when someone asked me for something, I would say no, then I would run. Why? Because if I stay there long enough, my no would turn into a yes. But now I can look you in the face and I can say, no, I'm not going to do this, that, and the other. No, I'm not going to do it. And I can stand there. Sometimes we got to learn how to establish boundaries, because if we allow ourselves to do everything, we're not going to be able to have strength to do what the Father has called us to do. We got to know when to finish, when to fall, and when to start something. Sometimes we got to keep asking God for new instruction, but God is saying, but you ignored the last instruction I gave you. And the last instruction that I gave you is the new instruction that I want you to follow. So we got to ask ourselves, what do I already know that God has told me to do that I haven't done yet? Somebody, I want you to think about this morning. What is it that God has already told you to do that you have not done it? I want you to write that thing down, write that vision down and make it plain so you can run with that vision. Run mentally, run in your spirit, run emotionally, run with that thing. And then you got to take a step forward. Writing it down is one thing, but if you never take a step forward to what it is that the Father has called you to do, you're not really making strides to finish what God has called you to do in 2026. Sometimes we got to get up, we got to declare it, we got to move, we got to pray on it, and then we got to start having some action. Action is required to keep moving. If you have no action, you are not moving. My next point is don't let slow progress make you stop. Things may look slow to you right now. And even in the word, it says, and let us not become weary when we're doing the right thing, when we are doing well, when we are walking in the way that the Father's coming. Why can't we come weary? Because there is something that's going to come. There is a season that's going to come that you're going to reap for continuing doing what it is you're supposed to do. And you're not going to fail. Somebody you need to drop in the chat this morning. There is a season of reaping that's coming my way. There is a season that I'm going to do and I'm going to get what the Father has designed for me to get because I kept it moving. Slow down doesn't mean that we stop sometimes. So I want to make sure that we understand that sometimes we slow down, but because you slow down does not mean that you stop. So my point is, don't let slow progress make you stop. You don't stop when you slow down. So if you like me and you're getting older and the weight is falling in different directions on your body, you begin to slow down to catch your breath. Sometimes I got to slow down to catch my breath. But when I catch my breath, I begin to move again because kingdom growth often comes through process. There is a process that we go through in order to get kingdom growth. And sometimes in the process, you got to slow down so you can understand where you are, what you're supposed to be doing, and how you're supposed to execute the next minute. So slow down doesn't mean stop. Somebody needs to drop in the chat this morning. Yes, I'm slowing down, but I'm not stopping. Seeds don't become harvest overnight. And somebody needs to drop in the chat this morning. I got a seed on the inside of me. I got a seed that's producing. I've got a seed that's being watered. And my harvest is not going to come overnight. But if I don't become weary, if I continue on doing, there is a season that my harvest is going to come into fruition. I don't know about you this morning, but that thing just got me excited. There is a season for my seed, a season in a harvest that my seed is going to come into fruition. So I can't slow down because I got a seed on the inside of me, a seed that's going to come in maturity, a seed that does not need to die, a seed that's going forward. We got to remember what we are learning in every step that we are taking, because what we are learning is what the thing that's going to give us the strength, the direction to go forward. We got to know you're going to be watered, you're going to be protected, you're going to wait, but you're going to work, and you're going to trust God for the increase that's going to come your way. My next point on this morning is that stop carrying what is slowing you down. One thing, I don't want you to slow down, but the next thing, I want you to stop carrying that thing that's telling you to slow down, because sometimes things can tell us to slow down. So the Bible says, lay it aside. It's a weight that's upon you that I need to lay it aside. If your clothes are too heavy, sometimes when it's hot, we got to take that thing off and we got to lay it aside because it's carrying too much weight on us. And then when we lay it aside, we don't lay it aside just to lay there, but we got to run. And when you got to run with patience, the thing that's set before you, you wrote the vision, you made it plain. Now I got to run with it. I've got to know that it's coming into fruition. So I got to run. We can't lay it aside. We can't allow weights to come and move us from it. What are weights? Comparison, people pleasing. What are weights? Overcommitment. What are weights? Unnecessary conversation. What are weights? Old disappointments, fear, perfection, trying to prove ourselves, trying to carry what everybody else has. Those are weights. Somebody needs to drop in the chat this morning that I'm laying my weight aside. My weight is not going to cause me to slow down. My weight is not going to cause it to be so heavy until I'm not able to carry it. My next point on today is focus on your next step, not on the whole staircase. Somebody is trying to focus on how I'm getting up the entire staircase, and you can't even get up the steps. I need you to focus on the next step. The Bible talks about the steps of a good man are ordered by God, by the Lord. Focus on the step. Focus on lifting your foot on the first step and not trying to get to the third step. When we were younger, we would take 2 steps at a time. But I got to focus on that first step. God doesn't always want to show us the entire journey that we are. Sometimes he just wants us to show 1 step at a time. So sometimes we got to give enough light just to the first step to get to the next step. My fifth and my last point is press forward without living backwards. Somebody this morning, I need you to press forward without living backwards. Philippians says, forget those things which are behind. And I want to encourage you today to press forward. Reach for that thing that's in front of you. Reach for the thing that God has called for you to do. Reach for the thing that he has placed in you. We're getting it done in 2026. You cannot keep moving forward while you're constantly looking behind. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe things have gone wrong. Maybe something didn't work out. Adjust. Maybe somebody disappointed you. Get some healing. Maybe you lost time. Redeem what you have left. But don't build your future around what happened yesterday. Build your future in your hope on things that you see in front of you. I want to encourage you on today to keep moving. We're at the last week of the turning point, and I want you to know that we're turning that key in that lock. We're coming to the end of 2026, and we've got to get it done in 2026. You got a little bit time left, somebody I'm talking to. Turn that key in the lock and get it done. It's when you recognize that you cannot continue to go in the same direction, that you will change your direction. You will change your pace. Sometimes you got to change. Sometimes your thinking has to change. Your choices have to change. Your direction has to change before you can move. Whatever the change needs to happen on today, I want to encourage somebody. Take that step. Keep it moving. Put your faith into motion. Stay obedient. Stay focused. Stay aligned in whatever you do. My kingdom family, whatever you do, I want you to keep it moving, because I want you to realize that if you didn't get anything else out of this Turning Point series, I want you to know every step, every choice, every opportunity that you have is on assignment. So whatever you do in this 2026, however you move, understand that you're on assignment. God has called you to fulfill something in 2026. Don't allow hindrance, weights, or anything else to stand in your pathway, because you're going to get it done. You're going to make it. You're going to execute what it is that the Father has called for you to execute in 2026. While we're saying that, I've got a couple announcements that are coming your way. I want us to remember on this Thursday, somebody drop in the chat, Thursday. On this Thursday at 7 p.m., we are again having our second episode of the Kingdom Chick with Kingdom Influence. This Thursday, we're going to have real conversation, real accountability, and real transformation. We're talking about the weight of sisterhood on this Thursday, the weight that you carry of sisterhood. We need you to understand that you got to be in the house. I got two awesome women that are coming on this Thursday. We're going to be in the building. We're going to talk about the Kingdom Chicks. They don't compete. As us being Kingdom Chicks, we don't compete, but what we do is we build. I got Sister Antoinette Lawrence from the Women of Purpose that's coming. I got my sis Amina Maybach. She's the host of Faith to Faith podcast. She will be here. We will be at the table having some conversation at the table, taking some accountability for how we act as being in a sisterhood. What is your weight of sisterhood? Check your sisterhood. Grab that sister and tell them, hey, we got to tune in on this Thursday at 7 p.m. for the Kingdom Chick with Kingdom Influence. We got to be at that transformation table because they're going to be dropping some nuggets at that table. We're going to talk about sisterhood. The next thing, or the next announcement we have before we actually leave on this morning, next Tuesday, August the 31st, is going to start our Tuesday transformation testimonies. We've been talking about change for 2026. Some of us have walked into the place that God has called us for. Some of us have gotten some things done in 2026. For the next couple of episodes, we're going to have Testimony Tuesday. Somebody said, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to have a testimony that I need the people to hear on Tuesday Transformation Tidbit. The things that God has done for me. You see, I got it done in 2026. So I got to tell somebody that I got it done. I'm going to have one of my big sisters coming on next week. Sister Marlene Cole, Chef Marlene, she will be on. And I don't know about you, and I don't even know if you know, but she got that thing done. That book that she's supposed to be writing, she got it done. I don't want to tell her testimony. I don't want to tell her story because she's coming next week at 6 a.m. to talk about how she got it done, to talk about what she did, how she walked the assignment, how she made a choice and she stuck to it. My kingdom family, I want to encourage you to take those announcements by way of announcements. I want you to take those announcements, and as we say in church, govern yourself accordingly. But I want to see you on Thursday at the table. We got a seat at the table for you. It's going to be Kingdom Chicks. We got Kingdom Influence, and we're coming to talk about the weight of sisterhood. We don't compete as sisters. But what we do is we build one another. Until Thursday, Kingdom family, I want you to be amazing on today. Shalom.
Thank you for joining me for Tuesday Transformation Tidbits. Remember, transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens one intentional decision at a time. Until next Tuesday. Keep stirring your faith. Keep sharpening your focus. Keep shifting into your next level. This is Patrice Thomas, your kingdom chick from Teardrops, liquid language of the heart, reminding you that your best self is still becoming. Be encouraged, be transformed, be all God created you to be.